y'all. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of More Than the Title. This is episode 226, y'all. We out here working. We working. You know what it is, y'all. I'm your host, as usual, Jarrett, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And Cuzzo's not going to be here today. He had a procedure, man. So shout out to Cuzzo. You know, we love you, man. He won't be here today, but he will be on next episode. And we're going to do what we do. But, you know, as always, I got my sis, Nadege, a.k.a. The Balance in the building. What up, sis?
Oh, you know, it's pod day. And it's a great day. But do this for my bro. We have a phenomenal episode coming up today with my soror, who's amazing. Before we get into this amazing guest, we got to show God grace and glory, for our grateful and thankful.
Yeah.
So this G&T, actually, I'm shouting out my girl, Taylor McCain.
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you I'm shouting you out directly. Thank you for coming on the show, because we have had a great relationship. I have so appreciated and admired you, and to be able to have a conversation with you about all the achievements you've done. I'm excited for it. So thank you to you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a role model and mentor to the illustrious organization of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and all the work you've done with your organization, which we're definitely going to get into. So, bro, I say let's take it away. Let's honor her. Let's give the bio, because that resume is long.
You're on, man. So let's give this queen the proper introduction, y'all. So first-time listeners, welcome to More Than the Title. This is what we do. There's a show where we go beyond the resumes, job descriptions, all that stuff. We want to know the real stories, the real journey, and the real impact behind today's most dynamic leaders, and today's no different, y'all. She is the Chief Operating Officer at Rap Snacks, one of the most culturally relevant, fastest growing snack brands in the world. She's a proud Greensboro, North Carolina native, a 2016 graduate at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Shout out to the Tar Heels. She's also made her mark in the Miami business landscape since 2017. Not only is she the COO of Rap Snacks, but she's also the founder and president of the L.E.A.D firm, L.E.A.D firm, a platform focused on empowering and guiding others to their full potential. But on top of that, she was named Miami's most influential and prominent Black women in business and industry in 2020, and one of the most powerful Black professionals in 2021. She's a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Inc., the Links Incorporated, and the Girlfriends, contributing to lead with purpose every sphere she touches, y'all. So you've seen her in the boardrooms. You've seen her at the colleges. You've seen her on the magazines, and you've seen her today on your favorite podcast for the very first time. Let's introduce Taylor McCain, y'all.
That's right. Thanks, y'all. Happy to be here. It feels like I'm right at home. Right at home.
You with the family. You with the family, sis. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get right into it. Let's start. We always start off with your early influences. What was your childhood like? What was it like growing up?
Yeah, so I'm from a city called Greensboro, North Carolina. I always have to preface that because some people are like, where is that? What is that? I say North Carolina, like, oh, Charlotte, Raleigh, and I'm like, oh, those are great cities, great places, but nothing beats Greensboro. Greensboro is it's the third largest city in North Carolina, so it's right in the middle. It's a huge college town. I was born and raised there, went to high school, middle school, elementary school. The only thing I did not do was go to college there, but the rest of my family did. For those of you who are not familiar with the city, it's North Carolina A&T State University that's there. It's a HBCU that's well known for its engineering, agriculture, and technology. I got to shout them out because my family did go there, and I'd be remiss. They'd be on my neck when I got off this call. Like, did you not say that? So yeah, for sure. Got to do that because it is a place of excellence. Being at a place like Greensboro, you are just working honestly to match that level of excellence that you're seeing in the classrooms, in the community. We have some of the biggest influencers as it pertains to different professions, as well as a lot of history, civil rights history, which I could tap on a little bit later when y'all ready for all that. But it's a great place to come up. It's very diverse. And so I have a lot of love for North Carolina. People are like, oh, where do you live? I'm like, oh, I live in Miami, but I'm from North Carolina because that's the place that raised me and really pushed me to want to get out there. That's what we've been taught is, hey, work hard here so you can go places, but don't forget where you come from because that's where you got it all started.
Message. And you say like Mike from the Wood, North Carolina. You
North
say
Carolina. I know. I'm always like, do I have an accent? And they're like, I know. And then I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm from North Carolina. They're like, okay, yes, you have an accent. There it goes, North Carolina. I'm trying to work on it, but I think it's just never leaving.
I ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it. So what was family like? What were some early influences? Like who
Yeah.
guided you?
Okay, so my parents were always really good at trying to put us in the best schools possible. Started out at a great elementary school where I still have friends from my childhood to now there. And a lot of people can't say that. You know, they're like, oh, that was my homegirl in elementary school, but I don't talk to her now. And me, those people were some of the greatest people that could have ever come into my life, and we've grown up together. So I would say that one of the biggest influences, and like I was mentioning earlier, is Greensboro is a huge civil rights place. Like it's a lot of movement occurred in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so not sure if you're familiar with the Greensboro Four, but that they are the four young men who sat down at the Woolworth's lunch counter. They were college freshmen at the time. They were there. And so I always was learning about this growing up, but not realizing how impactful it is. But the reason why I was learning about it growing up is because one of those guys was my grandfather, right?
Okay.
So you're imagine being in elementary school and you're like looking through the books, the social study books, and everybody's like, oh, Greensboro 4. And I'm like, oh, this is my granddad. This is the same last name that I got, so that was one of the major influences. And right then and there at a young age, I said, I got to come correct. I got to come correct, but also not just me come correct. I got to make sure my peers around me come correct, because what they did at that young age can be done by anybody. We're not far removed from the civil rights era. And so having someone like that in my corner, my grandfather who lived in Charlotte, which was only an hour away, though we didn't talk about it much until his end of his life, because he was my granddad, I still felt the influence. And I will never forget at my high school graduation, I was so excited because I'm a party girl. I like to have balance. Okay. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I like balance. Like I'm going to work hard, but I'm going to play hard. But I remember at my graduation, I was excited about the party. And he was like, oh, you should be excited, but it was an expectation for you to get to this point. Right. So that was a standard. Excellence. I'm not surprised. Where are we going next? What are we doing next? And so that's why I always think in my mind, what am I doing next? Where am I going next? And whenever someone's achieving, it's like, that was an expectation. That was ordained for you. So Greensboro is a great place. I always tell everybody, if you get a chance to go through Greensboro, do it. There's a museum there for the Greensboro 4, and it captures the Woolworth setting, but also you'll just see that the people are down to earth, and that makes a difference too, because it just didn't build me to be an intellect, but it built me to be a good person and to know how to intermingle with all generations, all people of different colors, professions. So definitely got to shout out Greensboro, because it's just a place I love.
I just gotta ask you real quick, how did that change your life? Like, was y'all like famous in the city? Like, where it's like, yeah, Charlie's.
Yeah. You can't go anywhere. Imagine, okay, so it's like one of those things where it's like, on the movies when you're like, oh, your last name is McCain. I know your daddy. I know your grandma. I know, you couldn't go anywhere. So then you had to be thoughtful, like, oh shoot, did they see me just do what I just did?
Exactly.
Yeah. Or like, oh, they probably have a direct line. When they say they know my parents, how direct is the line for them to be able to call? But I would say too, I mean, I'm not gonna say that it wasn't heavy, right? It wasn't heavy. It was heavy, right? It was heavy. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, if your grandfather can do this as a freshman in college and come to a city that he wasn't familiar with and set a stage for nationally desegregating lunch counters when that was just unheard of. Okay, what are you up for? What can you do? And how are you gonna how are you gonna lead the way? So I carried that. I'm not gonna say that there wasn't pressure about that, but I also had to be grateful. Like people also are like, oh, like it's famous. No, I'm like, no, we're not about that. We're known about purpose. We're known for purpose, not for being famous. We want to be about purpose. Our family wants to be known about what's our purpose. And I think that each of us in our family has figured out what our purpose is. And that's really been the driving force. And even though he's not here, we feel him on our neck. Because if you knew this man, he was stern. He was stern, a little softer on me, but he was a stern kind of guy.
And God bless, man. Shout out to your grandpa for making a sacrifice like that. That's real.
For sure, for sure.
So now all that pressure, all that influence, what is something that, like, what's an experience or a piece of knowledge that like really stuck with you? Like, what's like the best piece of knowledge or like a really good lesson learned experience?
Yeah. And you're talking about in terms of like my interaction with my grandfather, or just
you like growing up in that kind of environment?
Yeah. I would say that I think too, one of the things that comes with being from a family like that is sometimes the expectation is as if you're separate from others, right? So yeah, people know you because of what your family did, but how are you still an attainable person? How are you still genuine, and what does that look like? So a lot of the times, one of the things that I did, and what I want to be a continuous learner, because you don't know it all, even though this person is in your life. But I would say, volunteering in the city, right? Volunteering in the city, holding leadership positions. I used to be a president of a youth group in Greensboro, but setting the trend for that, right? So that now exists. And so it's always like, well, how will you set the trend? And I think that even translated over to Delta too, which I guess we'll talk about eventually as well. But starting scholarships in different areas where they're able to get funding to be able to support people who are also in college just like me, right? You want to be able to give out those resources that you know that you're receiving. And so being humble in that space and making things seem attainable, but also being approachable, I think that's one of the things that I try to live by in all of my leadership roles while I was growing up, even up to now. It's like, okay, yeah, you carry this, but how you're only as good of a leader as those who you're bringing up as well. So
So I want to ask you why you went to North Carolina instead of staying locally. Well, when did you know you was a leader first? Because either you got it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, when did you know you?
Yeah, I think there were like, and these are very simple. This is very simple. Okay, simple examples. We'll start with the church. I got like 3 examples, but I'll give you one of the church. It's very simple. Sometimes you just don't know. Like, I didn't know that I was a leader, right? But y'all, I can't sing that well, okay? But I used to sing in the church. Everybody got somebody. When you grow up in the church, you doing something in the church. So I got rhythm, but I'm not that graceful, so I couldn't be a dancer. So I knew I was like, that's not it. But my mom had me in the children's choir, and every year I kept getting the singer of the year, and I was so confused, like, why? And like, even as a kid, like, why am I getting this award? And I'm not the person doing the solos. So what is happening here? But it was just it was so random. But it would be every single year, and I'm like, and why don't they pick somebody else? Because I don't like attention either. Like, that's just not really me. But I just remember that Bonnie Tipton, who was our choir director at the time, and her husband, they would always say the reason why they chose me for this award is because I set an example. I showed up on time.
There you go.
Even though I didn't feel like I was the best at singing, I practiced extra hard. I asked for help.
Yeah.
I never was too good to get help. And I was honest. When I felt like something just was not right, I was honest. And not only was I just doing this individually, the younger choir members who, we were going all the way from like 5 to 18, to the older members were following after me. And then I was like, okay, maybe just being me is just being a leader, just being me and not changing that, not even recognizing that I'm doing these things. It just was something, I wasn't going to quit on it, even though I wasn't good at it. It was just a thing of like, keep doing what you know to do and work hard, go the extra mile, even when it's uncomfortable as a young person, and you'll be rewarded. And so because I kept getting that award, and then finally it like resonated with me when I got a little bit older, I'm like, oh, that's why they were picking me. And I think that's when I realized, oh, I'm a leader. So, and it's not about how good you are, what it is. It's just how you present yourself and how you carry others along the way.
Message.
The fact. And being a good leader is also, you have to be a good follower. Straight
Yeah,
up. Right.
absolutely.
And being that good leader is like, for me personally, it was always identifying something I wanted to do and say, why not me? But I want to learn from that person. I don't care if it was sales, basketball. If you're the best player on the court, I want to know what you're doing. I want to go against you. I want to see what's going. Word, that's how you shoot. And that's how you. Okay, cool. In sales, you getting $1 million in revenue a year. Okay, cool. What are you doing? What's your pipeline look like? How are you doing this? How are you doing that? How are you doing your discovery calls? What's this look like? How's your follow-up game? And I wanted to know all that. So you hit the nail on the head. But when it hits you and you know, it's being curious. You know what I'm saying? And just doing the right things, being the repetition. Doing the right things every single day when nobody's watching.
Yeah,
absolutely, for sure.
So with that love of learning, like now you're in school. Like, what did you major in? Like, college, like?
Yeah, so that was interesting too. So yes, we have 9 universities in the Greensboro area. Yeah, it's a lot.
How big is the city?
We got a lot of land. We got a lot of land to be able to have universities there. It's a huge job supplier in our city, which leads to why we have such a great education system. But I was just always odd about that. I was like, oh well, I just don't want to stay in Greensboro. Like Greensboro, like I said, it felt a little heavy sometimes carrying. I wanted to go somewhere where I'd be new, and things would be new, right? And I could decide if I wanted to be social, if I wanted to just kind of fall back. It was just a place, where I had grown up, but it was time for me to go. So I went to Chapel Hill, which is not far. I mean, if you, depending on how fast you're going, you can get there in 45 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So I decided to go to Carolina. My parents, again, like I said, went to A&T. My grandmother went to Bennett College. Got to shout them out too. And my grandfather went to A&T. So I just remember like trying to vet through where I wanted to go. But my number one choice actually was Howard University. Yeah, I really wanted to go to Howard. I was dead set that I was going to Howard University. But I had to have some courageous conversations with my parents, and it just made more sense for me to stay in North Carolina. So I had applied to everywhere but A&T. I left them off the list. Sorry. But my grandfather actually was in his older age, and I was like, oh, where do you think I should go out of all these choices? He was like, Carolina. I was like, okay, well, shoot, sign me up. So that's how I ended up going to Carolina, and it worked for me. College was great for me. Granted, everybody on that campus didn't look like me. So that was cool too, because it just gave me exposure to a new realm of life. Just seeing how everybody operates, how people think, religion. I remember that I was the only person of color in my dorm, which was cool. Like in my suite, that was pretty cool because I had learned a lot about cultures and everything, but just being immersed in something like that, it's different. It's different to like learn about it from a distance and from people that you are seeing at school and then they go home, but living in a different space like that was pretty cool. So college was great. I met my great.
I was excited. You was happy as hell when you saw a Black person, though.
Yeah, one of the first Black people that I like ran to look for was my best friend from elementary school.
Okay.
So we've been friends since before elementary school, maybe like 4 or whatever. So we both went to Carolina together, and we just built our group from there. We have a very great group. We call ourselves the starting 5 and the coach because there's 6 of us. So then there was different webs of life that came from that too. Friends who I worked with from back home ended up going to Carolina. We connected. So it was really, really, really good time. But Carolina also was a place that wasn't easy. It was challenging. The workload was challenging. So I'm not going to act like I went there and got a 4.0. Like, no, I didn't. I started out pretty much, I was on a low tier, baby. Okay. Trying to just climb, stay alive. I thought it was going to be over at one point. I'm like, okay, Taylor, we got to tighten up. So I majored in journalism. But I will say there was a strong influence from people around me. Oh, major in business. But being me, I'm like, yeah, that's cool for y'all. That worked for y'all. But I'm going to continue to do journalism because I knew what I wanted to do. I'm like, I want to be Oprah. That was what I went to school for. I'm like, I can learn Oprah knows the all-around business of everything, what she has going on. If I can just secure this journalism degree, I know I can go out to the workforce and learn it all. If you know how to speak and you know how to write, you can go places because that's a skill that just goes anywhere. It's transferable. So I went to school to be on camera. Somebody calling us.
Yeah, yeah, that's my. I did tell.
See, everybody want to get to know you. They trying to get on the podcast too.
They trying to call. They trying to call.
Yeah.
So you start talking that shit, they want to call.
They say they trying to get to your direct line.
Yeah, so I turn my damn ringer off, but it goes through my phone. I mean, it goes through the computer.
Yeah.
Damn it, my bad.
It's okay. It's the max. It's cool.
You know how I go.
Yeah. But yeah. So I majored in journalism. I got to year 4 and I was like, nah. I don't want to be on TV anymore. Not gonna happen. So I had a hard conversation with my professors. Like, look, here, this is not what I want to do. So I know that I'm gonna take this degree and do something different, but I'm not gonna be on camera, person for the sake. I don't want to be a reporter. That's not what I want to do. Honest. I'm telling my peers, not doing it. So because I had those honest conversations, my grades are probably the best they ever had been. I'm even telling my professor, like, look, don't show my stuff in class. I'm going to do the work that you asked me to do, but don't show it in front of everybody else. Let us work on it and, kind of break it down, what I did right, what I did wrong. And I built relationships just like that. People who are working in the J school that people are like, oh, they're not welcoming and inviting. I'm like, oh, no problem. I'm seeing them smoking at the trees and I'm waving. They're like, how do you know them? I'm like, I had that honest conversation with them. Like, hey, I got to get out of here. This is what I want to do. But I think all in all, college was great for me because it taught me even further how to enhance my leadership, how to manage those tough times, and then the beauty of relationships, right? Because everything that I was saying my senior year of college, everyone is beginning to do now. Like, they're like, oh, no, I'm not doing this. I'm switching career paths. I'm like, hey, you had to wait on your time to realize that if that's what you wanted to realize. But then there's some people who are really just killing it. And that was for them. But I knew when it wasn't for me, I needed to speak up and figure out how to get help, but not do anything about, the fact that I had signed up to do this. But granted, it was those relationships that pushed me through, whether it be my friends or my professors. So yeah.
Relationships. Relationships. So, but I know it like I usually talk about relationships. We even have a course about relationships. I'm not gonna do the pay the bills. We're gonna do that later. I'm gonna show that later. But like, you know what I'm saying? So our whole thing is relationships and revenue, right? Same thing that you're saying. But most people don't understand how to really build genuine relationships and still like when to make the ask, when not to make the ask. All those things is like a skill set. So I would love to know, like, how did you help develop those relationships? Like, what are some tips you would give to people?
You can't build a relationship with people when you want something, right?
Message.
It's got to be a climb, baby. You got to start from the beginning, right? Because you don't know when you're gonna need someone. Like, this thing about when someone's asked you for something, you're like, I ain't talked to you ever before, but now all of a sudden you want to talk to me and think I'm gonna bend my back. Like, no, you got to start. You have to be intentional from the beginning, and I think that's always been my approach to things. One, just be you. And then 2 is just, how do you create an inviting space where people can trust you, where they feel like they can communicate with you about things? Because I wasn't just going in there telling them, hey, I don't think I want to be on camera anymore. I don't think journalism is the route that I'm going to take when I leave here. But I'm in there asking them about themselves. People want to know you care. Mm-hmm. I always get that, oh, you're so friendly. And I'm like, well, maybe that's how you guys are approaching it, but it's like sometimes the magic question is just, hey, how are you doing? You never know how far you can go by just asking somebody like, hey, how are you doing? Because some people just need a vent some days, okay? And that's okay too. And you have to know when you can take that on, or they just want to know that you just thought about them and that you didn't make the moment just about you.
Just talk to them.
So I was on. Yeah, that's how I built my relationships. And oddly, I feel like in my space, I always think about people as family. Because another part about it too is that like no one gets to pick who their family members are. You don't get to pick who you work with. Yeah. Right? You don't get to pick all that. There's some people that I mean, when you become the boss, you get to pick it. But sometimes even your external people that you work with, you don't get to pick them because you just got to do business with them. Mm-hmm. Right? So I've never met anybody that got to meet before they came into this world, their whole family, and was like, all right, this is who I want, X, Y, and Z. No, but you learn how to balance it, and then you know who's going to bring what to the table. You know, you can't have everybody bring the macaroni and cheese to Thanksgiving, right? You have to vet that. But you know, sister girl over here can. So I just think about it that way. You know, how do I create an inviting space, but then recognize who's a part of my family tree, whether they be blood, whether they be professional, whether they be my colleagues, sorority, whatever it is. So that's how I built those relationships, and they don't forget you too. You don't want to be forgotten if you have a good relationship with somebody.
You hit the nail on the head. Being genuinely curious, like, and just being real. Like you said, like I know I have 2 mentors in my life. One passed away, unfortunately. Solomon, love you, bro. You know, rest in peace, man. So he owned 16 handles. He had like 50 stores. If you know the yogurt store, whatever. Yeah. So boom, I cold called him one day. Boom, and he just like, yeah, I like how you talk, but like I would have approached me like this. And that was early. I was sitting there when I had the braids down my back. I was just trying to close everything. So he's one of those relationships that I just kept from Salesforce. Like, yo, I'm keeping this, writing it down, and I'm keeping his number. So wherever I go, I'm going to call you and see if I could do some business with you. Long story short, I got him on a podcast one time. After 10 years of knowing him, we started really building. I'm like, can you just be my mentor? He's like, hell, what's up? He's like, all right, first question he asked, what do you want to get out of it? Wasn't prepared for it. I just hit him with bro, I just want our kids to play with each other. Like, barbecue and stuff. Like, I want us to be like that. And when I said that, he just like, all right, my God.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you were honest. Mm-hmm. You were honest. You were real. That's all it takes.
That's it.
That's it.
What you want me? I don't got an elaborate answer. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, and everything doesn't need an elaborate answer. You just say how you feel, and that's what it is. For sure.
People love authenticity, building those genuine connections. So yeah, no, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Real. That's the real. So we talking about relationships. How did those relationships propel you into business?
Yes.
Okay. So you all had James Lindsay.
Yeah.
Shout out to James. Yes. So we'll start with the Rap Snacks. So ironically, and we love telling the story, but growing up, like I said, Greensboro is a great city. Mm-hmm. James was living in North Carolina. He actually was my neighbor. Okay.
What?
Yeah. See, relationships. I'm trying to tell you, you know, and when he was living in my neighborhood, I was only maybe in middle and high school. Yeah, in middle and high school during the time when he was living in my neighborhood, and then he transitioned. And then of course I went to college, so that kind of separates you from the neighborhood because you're not coming home as much, etc. But yeah, so like I still wanted to work in the entertainment industry. Now I was honest about that. Yeah. Definitely wanted to be in that space, just not on camera. And so I happened to ask him like, hey, do you know anybody that's working in the entertainment industry that is hiring, you know, wants some young blood, you know? And I must say this too. Let me pause real quick on this story because I want to say this. Coming out of college, I had to take a job that I didn't expect to take, right? But a job was made for me because of the different leadership roles that I had outside of the university. And because I was transparent about that, the university made me a job that was flexible with my leadership so that I didn't have to stop growing outside of the campus, but I still had a chance to have that job experience. So I do have to show love to those relationships that I made on campus because that was originally my first job. And then I transitioned to Rap Snacks once I knew my leadership positions were coming to an end and I could really launch off what I wanted to do. Again, that goes back to relationships and speaking up for what you know, even if you're concerned, speak up. Even if you feel good and happy, speak up. It don't matter what it is, speak up. Because somebody listening, they're listening, even when you don't think they are. So they made a job for me. And then, so after that, I, of course, called James. I'm like, oh, you know, do you know anybody hiring in the entertainment industry? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll hire you. I'm like, he don't know what I learned in college. He don't know if I even did what I need to do in college. I'm like, do you want to see a resume? Do you want to do an interview? That's why I have, you know, I have to thank him and I have to show so much love to James for that because he betted on me. But think about who betted on you. So he betted on me and he only was basing it truthfully off of what he had seen me as a leader as a child, right? That's all he had to go off of. He didn't know what I was doing in college. He based it off of that.
But that shows the kind of impact you made at such an early age.
Facts.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So that was it, and so he was like, I'll hire you. So I made the big jump, moved to Miami. This is about 8 years ago, and I never left. So that relationship alone is what got me to this position as it pertains to Rap Snacks. And then all the other relationships prepared me for this job, because I wear a lot of hats at Rap Snacks. It's not just a focused job. It's, hey, Taylor, we need you here. Can you do it? Can you make it happen? And I try my best to be Miss Make It Happen if I can. So that's really how I got to this point. Mm-hmm.
Fire.
So I want us to dig deeper into your business, but I want to track back to Delta and that journey, because I feel like we don't talk about Delta in the way it needs to be talked about more. Because first disclaimer, the policy is the only person who can speak for Delta Sigma Theta is the international president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Absolutely.
Point blank period, putting out that disclaimer. But I think it is important, and I want to start pushing this, that young Deltas need to start speaking up about the experience of leadership, so we can encourage more young sorors and young people to get in leadership. Because we had this conversation with the CMO of NAACP about encouraging more young people to just take the torch.
Yeah, but break that down for me, sis, because I don't know. So you saying the only person
like, what is this?
Like, break that shit down for me. I can't.
So our policy is, right, yes, we're all like, every member of Delta Sigma Theta represents Delta Sigma Theta, right?
Okay.
Our term is you're always wearing your pearls.
Got you.
But in regards to like what Delta stands for and like who can speak on behalf of Delta, it is our international president. And then based on chapters and like leadership, then it goes into like regional leadership can speak for the region, and then chapters.
There's a deep hierarchy.
Just like, yeah. So like a Delta can't just like go on Oprah and start, this is what Delta does, and this is how we do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she's very versed in our policies, like she can't be the one to speak on behalf of Delta.
Right. It's like a job.
Yeah, it is, because it is a job. And I feel like we have to encourage that, because like I've just recently started putting on my resume that I was a national board member for a 501c7 nonprofit organization, like at the age of 22, 23. Like, how many people can say that?
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to talk more about that experience. So for those who don't know, Taylor was, she was the highest ranking undergraduate. We call ourselves collegiates in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So she was not voted just by collegiates, but voted by the entire body to lead, not just lead collegiates, but she was a member of our rules committee, handled disciplinary actions, and yes, was responsible for, the longevity, upkeep, and, perpetuating young leadership in Delta. So I want your experience. Like, what was let's start with like you1, because I feel like celebrate the win.
Thank you.
Then what was it like, going through that experience? Because, right, a lot of times, like, we're in rooms with heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And we have, and like, when you are the highest undergraduate, most of the time you actually outrank these women. And so it's like, what was that like to, stand in that?
Yeah. Thank you, Nadege. Definitely. Well, that was 10 years ago. So the sorority has evolved so much. And I want to give a special shout out to our international president, Cheryl Turner, who was just elected this summer. I stand beside you, CT. She is that girl. If you have not met her, you will know all about it. Delta is going to continue to go to the next level. But wanted to shout her out, of course. But that experience taught me that there's going to be a lot of times when you're the youngest in the room, but you don't have to be the quietest in the room. Right? Yeah, for sure. Like, I think I was the youngest in the room very frequently on a lot of different things. But also, you let your work display what kind of leader you are, right? Because everything does not have to be said, but a lot can be done. So that journey, that was really the journey for me. It was like, okay, how can I let my work speak for me? So that journey started when I was a junior, going into my senior year of college, and so I think sacrifice is where it all started. And I'm not going to say that I was over the moon, ready, and knew what I was getting myself into when I ran for this position.
Any of us ever really?
No. That is not a thing. You know, they're like, people are like, yeah, you can do it. But I'm like, oh, okay, I can do it. But what exactly am I doing? Right? It's not until you get into the position where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And sacrifice is the starting of that. Because imagine being, like you said, Nadege, a college student, and you're going to have to skip your homecoming to be in a boardroom. But you don't even realize at that time, unless you have a mature mindset, that opportunity is so much bigger than maybe what you thought you were going to be doing that weekend instead on campus, right? It's just setting the tone for what's next. So sacrifice was definitely something that I learned and was taught. Working with people, right? A lot of the times as a young person, you attach to people who are going to be just like you, who think like you, who act like you. And when you're in a space like that, you're forced, again, to be with people who you don't know, personalities that you're not familiar with, but you just have to navigate it and work through it, but then also position them so that they can elevate too, right? Because though, yeah, I'm holding the third highest ranking position, we could have the next international president sitting at the table. And at that time, Cheryl Turner was sitting at the table. She was in a different position, but now she's the international president. Like, it's crazy how your seats will move around. But how do you also listen? Because that was the thing too. Like, I had to listen to what college students wanted in our organization, but also listen at maybe what the feedback was from someone who was a more seasoned or alumni or who may carry more knowledge. How does that work? And then also be a business person. Delta is a business. And like, we say this and people probably get annoyed by hearing that, but like, it really is. Like, some people have never filled out the tax forms that we filled out, or had to write the press releases that we've had to write out. And then granted, like, too, everybody there is a woman of excellence and of intelligence. So you got to make sure you're double, triple checking everything and thoroughly thinking about what resources you're using, because it's a part of the opportunity. So I would definitely say that moment in Delta was a moment of sacrifice, a moment of execution, because you couldn't just go in there and say, oh, I'm gonna do this and do that and not do it, right? Because some people use leadership as a moment to have a title. That's why I love y'all's podcast, because it's not about the titles. It's more about how can you make sure the job just gets done, and then bring the right people along to get it done, but also groom leaders at the same time. So
message. Woo. I like. She froze a little. While we unfreeze, while we thaw out real quick. I was just saying, how the hell are we talking about it now? You can't talk about it, right?
Maybe no, you can talk. We can't speak on behalf of the organization.
Okay. Official statement. Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about it right now. I'm like, y'all don't get in trouble.
No, we can.
No, you think Delta flew in and was like, cut the cameras.
The Delta police are everywhere.
No. But it was a beautiful experience. Like, I still have friends for so long. I mean, even Nadege, like, I don't think you were even a Delta when I was in the position. No, you weren't. So
no, I had the year after you left, because I came in the year Jarrett became president.
Yeah, so it was like, you legacy.
But how does that work though? So like, for me, somebody that does this sort of, like, how do you become the third highest ranking person, right? There's nothing but educated, intelligent women there, right? Like, how does it not be catty? How does it not be politics? How does it not be this? I gotta know.
Okay, so
no, we cut it off.
No, it's great. Yeah, I think, again, that's why it's important to have a team, right? Because there's people who have been there, done that. And so my team was a team of heavy hitters who had been there and done that. And just, my path to leadership was not traditional, right? So a lot of what people knew about me prior to trusting me to be in this office, they learned about me in a matter of 5 days. Right? So
Yeah.
every day had to be impactful. I did not have one day to come incorrect. And I think that that's an example too of like, you're always campaigning for your life each and every day. Like you're always on the campaign for Nadege's campaign, for Jarrett's campaign, you are campaigning each and every day. So that's why you got to show up, show out, and be tailor-made.
Message.
Ooh, I like it.
That was her slogan, by the way. The only reason I know that is because
I didn't know. I was like, God damn, that was good.
That was my slogan. Yeah.
I want to know.
That was my slogan.
Like, God damn, you talking about journalism. You took it to the top. I like it.
Yeah.
What was, because we do so much, like, and when we tell people all the things we've done, like we never get all of it out. But what is something that really stood out to you was like a proud moment? You're like, yeah, like go little rock star.
Oh, okay, so something that stands out to me, that was just over the period of my leadership, was that again, whenever you're in leadership like that, you seem so far from the rest of your peers and everybody. So from the beginning, I coached everybody, including like our executive committee and our board of directors members and my regional representatives who work under me. Let's be attainable. Like they need to be able to reach us directly, right? So how do we do that? So at the time, like we didn't have Zoom, which sounds so crazy. We had something different where you couldn't even be on camera, but it had just entered this era or whatever. And so I was doing different like WebEx events with the camera. And that was so new for the sorority. They honestly were like, do you think we can even do this? I'm like, yes, we can do it. So really work to be attainable in that aspect. But then one of the biggest things, and I think this was towards the end of my administration, is I wanted to create a national second vice president scholarship. And that would be awarded to a collegiate member who model excellence. There was a whole criteria, but it would be totally funded by past national second vice presidents who were passionate about grooming collegiate leaders and where they would go next. So I got together the national second vice presidents from, I think we started back in like 1956 all the way to at that time 2017. And I was like, hey, let's make a donation. Let's start this fund. And this scholarship has been there for 10 years. And so I know that each year that there's been a little bit that each second vice has poured into it for it to grow. And I think that hadn't happened before. There's always different scholarships for members outside of the organization, but it was like, how do we applaud our members here, but also recognize that there could be a need for funds for college students, and recognize them for their level of excellence on their campuses. So that was one of the things, legacy. I wanted to leave something. It wasn't about what I did in that short 2 years. It's about, okay, what can I leave behind for someone else to be able to build off of?
Love it. I love it. I got mad quick, but I don't want to too crazy. I didn't go.
Go ahead. Go with the questions. It's fine.
Had a kid early. I wanted to go. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good.
I lost my girl at the time at Lincoln University. I ain't never going over there now. But you know what, Taylor, as you was talking to, I went through the old, my first shot, I shot at James to get him on the podcast. You did coordinate the meeting. You coordinated. Yeah. So you did everything. So I'm looking right now. I was like, yo, the email Taylor from Rap Snacks. So you and I was talking October 27th, 2020.
And now that's 5 years ago.
5 years ago. I went in, literally, I was having a bag of chips and I literally was in my, right here. Was like, you know what? I'm gonna get James Lindsay. Connected with him on LinkedIn, went in my bedroom, shot a quick video on the phone, and he hit me back almost damn near immediately. Like
and I probably emailed you like
at 2:00 he responded.
Yeah, I probably emailed you like probably the next day or
no facts.
Maybe the next few hours. Yeah.
Facts.
Again, trying to carry that to the workplace too. Be responsive.
I was shocked he responded. That was just a shot. You know, you just shooting from half court. Like, you don't know
Yep.
me. I got the same socks hat I got on right now. We're in the room like, your brother, I would just love to learn from you. Boom, boom. He was like, yeah, now great to meet you, Jarrett. Emailed Taylor, had him on. He didn't know me from a hole in the wall. Came on the show, came through early at that. I had no lighting. It looked nothing like it did today. My audio sucked. And he still pulled up and showed wild love, yo. But his story resonated. Like, so no, I didn't know. I remember him saying North Carolina, but it's crazy that he was in the music industry. When you say entertainment, I was like, I'm surprised he didn't say like, yo, I'm working with Meek, or I'm working with this one, or something like that. So I'm surprised he didn't do that. He said, no, I want you for the business.
Yeah. And of course, you know, that was a unique experience too with Meek, because one of my first work field trips was to go to see Meek film a video. So that was pretty cool. So like I said, I was really adamant about learning the overall business. And, you know, there are some things you get from college, but there's a lot of things that you get from just being in the right space at the right time and in the streets, like from anybody. So that was my first field trip, was to go. I think Meek had just gotten released, and so he was filming 2 of his videos. The song with Young Thug, and so I just was there, and it was just amazing. I was just like, oh, yep, this is the place for me, and I've been there ever since.
That's your first work trip. That was a fire ass.
We had to go to Philly. That's where Rap Snacks started. So we had to go to Philly. You know, so it was just a great Philly trip all around.
The one thing I will say I love about the story of Rap Snacks is they solved the problem that nobody thought was a problem. Like, he thought so outside the box. He was like, yo, he told us on the show, he was like, I'm walking past, you know, back in the clubs, there was no flyers and nothing. It was just damn posters on the wall. And he said he was walking past one of the posters one day and was like, how much money they spending on this shit all across the city, and there's no attribution. You don't know who looked at it. You don't know who did what with it, who's purchasing a CD, who's doing any of that. And then went to the Universal office. He said Dolo, and was like, I got a whole model. I'm going to take these same things and I'm going to put it on a product. And nobody was thinking like that 20 years ago. Nobody. And to be a salesperson to get the yes and then figure it out. We ain't never made no damn chip.
That was 30 years ago. Like, that's like before your time. Like, people don't even realize it. Like, it might seem hard, right? Instantly, like, oh, this is too difficult to do, or it's not coming through right now. But it's like maybe just before your time. Like, just pause, let it play out. You are far ahead of your time, so that's why, you know, it ain't looking good right now, but it will get better.
That's a fact. I can imagine. Like,
I mean, even just from what you just said, 2020, you said you didn't even have good lighting. Now look, like, I mean, the following that you have,
yeah,
it just gets better.
It's cool. It's better.
You get
Great, Taylor. We out here.
Look, you out here now. You out here.
So that was your first. That was your first trip. Like, what in what capacity? Tell us about the story that, you know, if you could finish the story. Like, what was that first conversation like? What role did he said you were going to be in? Like, what did that look like? Right?
So yeah, there's no role. You just show up. You get the job done. We're a small team. It was only at the time another employee outside of me.
Wow.
So we were making the playbook.
Oh, so you claim like ground floor, like
Well, the company started in the company started in 1994, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's been amazing. And so at the time when I came, it was a pivotal time because we were adding new artists to the bags, which is so dope. Like, all right, you know, you're seeing people who you listen to on the radio on bags, and you're like, okay, you're tasked with pretty much helping to grow a business. And I have so much respect for James in terms of that. You know, I was like, whatever it takes, I'm gonna just do it, because at the end I'm gonna learn something. So we were a team of 3. It was another employee and then James. So a lot of the times at the beginning I was traveling a ton, and that's really where I was learning a lot, and, you know, putting a face with a name, and building the catalog for how we're going to grow Rap Snacks. And now we are a company of 15 now, you know, so that's a big jump from there, because, you know, it was a time where there was a group of us who did everything. from packing boxes that people were getting for samples, to making shipping labels, to creating email domains so that when we emailed you, you had something that said rapsnacks.net, you know, the social media, the finances, the sales, administrative work, whatever it took to make sure James's business grew. That's what we were doing. And so, I had to be along for the ride and not say, oh, this job is just too little or too big. That's why I get so irritated when people are like, oh, I just don't want to do that. I'm like, well, you just never know what you can get from it and what you can learn from it, because now, you're the point in contact for this because you've been working with this person for X amount of years. And then you also don't know how people are going to grow in leadership whom you're working with outside of your own company.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was 8 years ago. People have moved all over the place since then. And then that reward is that you get greater responsibility. You get greater responsibility. That was the reward for me. It's like, okay, he trusts me, and now my responsibilities are going to be greater. But that's what I wanted, right? I wanted to grow, and I wanted to take things to the next level. So, yeah, here we are.
Come on, man. Where's my horn at?
Yeah. I will tell you though, I remember vividly like my first week, or no, actually, before we went to Meek's shoot or whatever, James was like, "You're not gonna be starstruck, are you?" And I was like, "No, I won't be starstruck because you have to keep it business." I'm like 23 at this point. Like my little brother's biggest fan is Meek Mill. Like I'm like, all right, so I know him. James has been working with him. We know about him. The Migos, all of that, like all of that was like coming full circle for me, because it's kind of crazy how, again, people who you hear on the radio don't seem attainable, but they are attainable. And then you have to realize too, they're real people. They're real people who you can build real relationships with. So I was like, no, I won't be starstruck. I think I got it. So I think I did the right thing the first week, because ever since then I've always worked with all the artists, which has been pretty cool. So,
well, fun question then. Who would you be starstruck from?
Yeah,
Beyonce. I told him. I told him that. I said, listen, let me tell you something. I'm fine with everybody else, but Beyonce, just know I'm gonna fall out right here on this floor. But again, too, I gotta give my shout out to Delta, because Delta exposed me to some heavy hitters. Okay, like before I even got to Rap Snacks, I had met President Biden. I had been in spaces with Obama, like maybe at a seat like that's across from him, and he's a speaker, because it's kind of hard to get to Obama. But I had been in spaces like that. Siobhan Arlon Bradley was one of my speakers during my Delta Days in Nation's Capital, who is now NTNW's president. Like, it's just like they had already exposed me to all this, so that's why I knew I wasn't gonna be starstruck. I mean, Babyface, I had been in spaces with him. It was just, that was just normal. Our national presidents that we have, heavy hitters. So I was prepared for it, and I had to thank Delta for that, because they just taught me that I can keep up. So I've been trying to keep up ever since then.
That'd have been nuts to meet President Biden and fall over Meek. You with Obama, you fell out over Meek. Oh no.
no.
Yeah.
But Beyonce, hands down, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's it. I'm on the ground on that one. I ain't gonna even hold you on that one. Not gonna even hold you.
So sure. I was gonna say, so what was it like, being a part of a business that was actively growing, right? Going from 3 to 15, and like you and yourself getting that responsibility. I know it's more than time, but like now bigger titles getting slapped onto the end of your name. What was that like?
I won't say that was easy. But if you go into work excited every day, right, and you're grateful that your day is just going to look different every day, you'll start seeing how the needle moves, because your energy is what's going to push it forward, right? If you go in there saying, oh, this is going to be tough, we don't have this resource, we don't know this person, we're trying to get here, and you carry that weight with you, you're not going to go too far, right? But then it also means you have to get a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I was in it. If you know me, I'm a very like community person. Like, oh, like, yeah. But one of the things, again, that I've learned in leadership is that you can't be everybody's friend, right? Or you can be their friend, but you can't be their friend, right? You got to know when to turn the switch on and off.
Facts.
You just have to know how to do that, right? So that meant making some tough decisions, or like working with James to make tough decisions, and then also taking guidance from him, so that you can have tough conversations. I think too, the biggest thing that I always challenged the team was to operate in excellence, but also don't take no for an answer. And when I say don't take no for an answer, it doesn't mean like the first no, you know, you might take it on the chin, but it doesn't mean you don't come back.
I said be persistent.
No means y'all gonna see me again until you give me that yes.
Yeah, no means not yet.
Yeah, not yet, baby, but it's coming. So you're gonna, and because they're giving you the no and they see that persistence, like you'll eventually get the yes. So, and I think it's like a puzzle. You just move things around until they fit, and that was what was really happening. We have it's a family organization, so we have great dynamics because the core of that is the family. So we're just building off of that, and we work really hard to make sure that we have the best and the brightest. I always tell everybody, or I used to joke with them, whenever we'd have our retreats, it was kind of like the 53-man roster for the NFL. Like, all right, you guys made the cut this year, so it's like, because you made the cut, we need to win the Super Bowl. So you know what I'm saying? We got a quarterback, James. You know, we got our running backs, we got a wide receiver. So determine what role you're going to play and how big you're going to show up. And if you come up to the job excited and energized, that needle is going to keep moving forward. And that just means too, you got to embrace change, because Rap Snacks hasn't looked the same way it's looked on any year.
Message. Fact though. But you hit on something, and we always talk about this in the community, right? Doing business with family. Somebody like James, you have a personal relationship, right? So like, what is the toughest part of that dynamic? And also on the second part of that, what's the best game you got from him? What's one of the illest gems you were like, damn, that's good. I like that. What's one of those?
No, yeah. I think that with the relationship that I have with James, he is family, you know, but then it's also, I think we both have set the tone. I think that I appreciate the time that we were a smaller unit, because we could really grow the business relationship, but also the family relationship at the same time, because now we speak a language even when we don't have to say anything. Like, we don't have to say anything to each other. We just speak the language, right? Yeah. But then also I have to remember too, like, I work for James, and that's on me, right? So how am I going to show my respect each and every day for James to make sure that the job gets done? So really and truthfully, if I'm respecting his work, he'll respect my work. And that's why I think too, what's really locked it in is the amount of responsibility that he's given me, because he just wouldn't give someone he didn't trust the responsibilities that he's given me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because he's done that, you know, that lets me know that I'm doing the right thing. And sometimes we have to coach each other. Like, you know, there's certain, I'm still growing and learning. So he'll be like, Taylor, all right. And then, you know, for him, you know, I'm like, hey, James, I think we should do this. You know, we approach it. We know each other's approach level and how we need to handle it in order to do something. But we're just honest. Like, I spend time talking to James about personal things, but also business things. And that's why, too, we have that level of trust. Now, in terms of a gym, one of the things he used to say all the time was, no idea is a bad idea. And I was like, okay, you know, you sure? He's like, yeah, no idea is a bad idea. As long as you got a team that could support the vision and operate the vision, you recognize the resources that you need to get it done, right? And if it makes sense, they'll come to life. So that's why he's been so successful with he doesn't just have Rap Snacks, he has various brands. I mean, we're launching 2 new brands that are circulating the internet now. Boys Yikes, which is rolled tortillas and kettle chips, and they're really excited. We're really excited about that new brand. And then if you also see him post actually today, Do the Right Thing, which is a better for you brand. All of those have been brainchilds that have been in our boardroom for years, and like, here we are. It has arrived, and the reason why it arrived is because we're at a place where we have a team. You know, we have the resources, and then we're just ready to execute. So that's where we are, and we were patient. does even you can't think that the idea is bad because it's not going to just happen right away. You just got to sit on it for a little bit and grow it just like a baby.
Message.
So speaking of babies, you have your own baby with L.E.A.D.
Yes.
What is L.E.A.D? Let's start with what is it like? So
Okay. The L.E.A.D firm. The L.E.A.D firm is a consulting agency that I started. Actually with my good friend Jarrett Benjamin, whom I must shout out. He's somewhere probably watching this. So he was actually the international second vice for Phi Beta Sigma when I was a national second vice president of Delta Sigma Theta. And I think Jarrett and I just carried the same kind of drive, right? We're thoughtful, we're strategic, we have a great gift of gab, and you got to have that in that role. But also we know how to, again, connect with people. And so one of the things that we were frequently being asked to do in the organization was to go around to different events, to speak about leadership, or to do conflict resolution workshops, or do keynote speaking. And I just remember like telling Jarrett whenever I was I had just graduated from school, I'm like, Jarrett, we can make money off of this. Like, we need to figure out what our succession plan is going to be. And he was like, you know what? You're right. So in 2017, we launched the L.E.A.D firm. Actually, our first speaking engagement happened to be at the NPHC conference in Dallas. JJ, who was the president at the time, gave us the opportunity to do the panel as well as the workshop. And so we have been in business since 2017, we have gone to over 100 universities and worked with over 100 different organizations that are in the community, beyond sorority and fraternity and Greek life. We've worked with Panhellenic, we've worked with IFC, and we are your go-to brand for tailor-made programming for educational development, personal development, as well as any keynote speaking and workshops. So it's definitely, it's my baby. And I think Jarrett is a dynamic speaker. And our partnership together, I think we've meshed well. I've had to, kind of take a back seat a little bit because I am really busy with my full-time job. But I have made a priority to know that what I'm learning at Rap Snacks, I need to bring to my own business, right? So, and then Jarrett has learned in his career in education, because he just received his doctorate. Okay, this is the role that I'm going to play. So we feed off of each other and have placed each other in different positions so that our company can grow. So yeah, very proud of the L.E.A.D firm. If you need someone to come, we are there. Book the L.E.A.D firm. L.E.A.D for sure.
Every time you said it, I thought it was me though. You was like Jarrett. I'm like, yeah, it could be interchangeable until you said doctor. I was like, all right, you got me.
Listen, we contract speakers too. So if you ever want to get out there, we got you.
Oh, you should. Let's make something happen.
Yeah, we got you.
We got officially now. We got Ken on the resume.
Yeah, for sure.
We was on Inkwell Beach in the south of France. We've been at quarters. Let us know we can do.
Y'all got a lot of knowledge that we could use. So definitely.
We love that. I do want to ask you, like, in both, it could be either for the L.E.A.D firm or for Rap Snacks, right? What was one? Give us one for both.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, give us one for both. One for Rap Snacks. What is one tough decision that you made that helped change the company? What's one thing or idea or something like that helped the business become what it is on both sides? You might have suggested a flavor. You might have did something. What was one thing you was like, I gotta tell this to James, and yeah, ran with it.
Well, I think, okay, so on the Rap Snack side, my role, one of my responsibilities is to review the packaging on the bag. So if there's ever a spelling error, call me directly so I can fix it. No, I won't be though. But that's one of the things that that's really big for us. And I think one of the biggest things was we were going into Walmart, and it was during like COVID or whatever. They were asking us to change the packaging, and they wanted us to change it because they wanted us to emphasize bigger words, like certain words on there, which is great. You need that, right? Yeah. But that meant that the look was going to change. But I just didn't. In reviewing it, like I saw what everybody was saying and their suggestions, and I was like, I just really don't want us to lose our authenticity on this packaging because we're trying to, go into a big retailer. So I had made a suggestion on how to change the overall like packaging. Like it was a small tweak. I think I was just like, make this word bigger, and then it doesn't take away from it being a Rap Snacks product. And so I did that, and it was one of our better selling products. And we didn't have to lose that angle of being that cultural brand, because sometimes, like, you just got to play the game a little bit. So I would say that was one of the decisions that, like, maybe it was a little bit uncomfortable, and I was not knowledgeable about it. I'm like, heck, I want us to be in Walmart, whatever it takes, but it might mean taking a risk in terms of, our packaging or my suggestion. I don't know how it will be received because, that's not really, I let the sales team do their thing. James does his thing. I stay in my lane knowing what I do, but I made that suggestion, and it benefited us in terms of our growth and learning, all about the Walmart business. So I would definitely say, though that was a small tweak, it had a big impact. And we didn't have to lose who we were in the stores.
And that's a major decision, because if that doesn't work, that could jeopardize the relationship of the biggest retailer in the world.
Yeah.
That's
and then they're like, "Oh, Taylor, that was your suggestion." I'm like, "Oh no, that was." I'm just kidding. No, but yeah,
that's right. I said change the font.
Yeah, you have to take responsibility for it. So I think, yeah, that was just so small. I just remember being so small, and we have to be like so quick to change it. And it was like, okay, what can we do? And so I had made that suggestion, and we made the change. And yeah, business was great. So that was one thing. And then on the lead firm side, I think one of the biggest decisions that we had to make on the lead firm side was, as I was saying, contracting out support, right? For a long time, it was just Jarrett and Taylor, when we were a package deal, like I come in. And so I had to make a decision about, what role I wanted to play in my full-time position, what role I wanted to play in my personal life, what role I wanted to play in the lead firm. And Jarrett had to do the same thing. And we both knew, like, Jarrett wanted to go back to school. And then I wanted to grow as a professional. And it's like, okay, we got to ask for help, and we got to seek good help. And what we mean by asking and seeking help is like, okay, we have to find some dynamic speakers who really speak to our brand, who represent us well, who we can send out to Iowa, and people are going to be raving about them. And so we had to make a decision to just not just be the lead firm as Jarrett and Taylor, but we had to make a decision of like, okay, maybe both of us have to step back and let other people lead in our company that we were still growing and had grown. And that was tough, because that's tough, because when you've been the face of something for so long, it's your child, right? And you're like, I don't really know if I want people to take this or babysit this, but we had to do it. And we have some great speakers whom we have. So for sure, that was a big decision. And now we have about 20 speakers who are on our roster now. So that allows us to now be in more than one space at a time.
Well, but how does that work though?
So like, basically
speakers and then you, all right, do they pay you to a charge fee to do it?
So, yeah. So when they're contracted, we'll go into like wherever we're going, and we will contract them out, and then they receive a percentage based off of the services that they're providing. And of course, you have to think about like, okay, if the event is in California, they need travel. Yeah. They need hotel, they need food. So yeah, we have to, it's based off of a formula that we've created that's been able to be beneficial to both the lead firm and to our speakers, because we want to retain them. We don't want them to be like, we work with the lead firm and there was no benefit to us. No, we're rooting for you. We're considering you to be owners just like us.
Shit, sign us up. Mm-hmm. Let's get them. Come on.
I've been to a few of the workshops.
So we outside. We out here.
Yeah. But I want like, what was my question? Oh my God, I lost it. Bro, what you got?
I was gonna say, I'm still thinking about the roster. I'm trying to get on the roster. I'm trying to get down to that. I'm trying to get to the year.
I found it.
I see. There you go. There.
So with everything you had, like, because to me it sounds like you're definitely multitasking, wearing a lot of hats in multiple different locations at the same time. Like, how did you balance personal life, self-care? What did you do to recharge? What did you do, set boundaries to, be able to keep your battery level optimal?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say that I am. I think everybody wants to paint a picture of that they're like this super organized person, right? Like everybody who's in any kind of be like, oh, I'm just organized. And yeah, maybe you're not, and that's okay. I'm honest with myself. Like I had no boundaries on all the things that I was doing, and I was trying to do it all, right?
Yeah.
And I had to have accountability partners in all this. Matter of fact, my younger brother is probably my biggest accountability partner. His name is Mac. If you know me, you know I love my little brother down. Okay, that's my boy. Okay, and he is always like, Taylor, you're doing too much, right? And he's younger than me, so hearing it from him, I'm like, he don't know what he's talking about. He's just doing too little. Like he's just chilling. Like but he had his own career in football. He was in the NFL, and he was in school. He was a student athlete, and I'm like, okay, you know what? He knows what he's talking about, right? You got to take a second for yourself and realize you don't have to do it all, right? Showing up for people and showing up for things looks different, and that goes back to like the hard decision that I had to make of like, okay, Taylor, you can't be all in on everything, but you have to prioritize one on family because you can't get that back, right?
Nice.
Time, rest, and relaxation, you can't get that back. And then what makes you sane? For me, what makes me sane is to do the things I enjoy, which sometimes means socializing where I don't have to think about anything business wise, anything networking wise, just being in a space where people don't know what I have going on and just enjoying it. And so, just I had to like set up in my mind what the pyramid was and what that looked like in terms of what I was going to prioritize and how I was going to manage things, but then also like really listen to my accountability partners of like, okay, I can't just do everything. I have to slow down. And I mean, my accountability partners span from my youngest brother to this group that I call the six pack. I know they're watching because they're my accountability partners. The six pack, which are like my god sisters and god brothers and cousins. They're like, Taylor, you're missed too much. But listening to that made me want to sit down when I sit down. And I tried to like time out in my mind. Okay, from this time of my day, I'm not doing this because I have to put on my hat for this, right? And then some days I can't be all in on everything, right? On certain things. Okay, so today I might have to really just sacrifice something that's going on to get something done. Like, and PTO is important, baby. PTO is important. Use it wisely.
Prepare the others.
Prepare the others. And then two, when you get opportunities to move around and to travel, find the small things that do make you happy. Even though you're on a business trip, maybe you go get a dinner that really you needed to have, right? Like really wanted to go somewhere, a restaurant in the city. I always did that. When I was traveling as national second vice president, I was always doing research before I got there about what it was I wanted to do during this time, because I knew I couldn't give everything to them and still give to me. So that's really how I balanced it and how I do balance it now.
It's tough. It's easier said than done, yo.
It is for sure.
Yo, that shit is the toughest thing. So I would want to ask you, because we're gonna do our two last segments. I know we coming on my time, but I do want to ask you, now that you do have the title, has it jaded you when it comes to relationships? Because everybody's got to be pulling you a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Taylor, I need this. Taylor, I need that. Yo, Taylor, what's up? But then little bro just said, yo, you need time. So how do you say no to it? And it's a lot to fucking juggle.
No, I do. But then you gotta decide when you're gonna pick up the phone and when you're not gonna pick up the phone, like, and be okay with it. You cannot feel guilt in that. I get pulled in a lot of different directions each and every day, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie like again and say, oh, I'm overly organized where I can manage it all. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I gotta call this person back. Like, I have to call them later, or you might miss it just because there's so much going on. And so yeah, you do get pulled in different directions, but I don't think it has anything to do with the title. I think it has more to do with like, they know I'm going to get it done, and if I can get it done, I'm going to find somebody that can get it done. So that's why they call me. It's not, I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think that they just know that whatever it is, even if I have to do it myself, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna yeah, my love language is showing up for you. I tell people, you'll have so much fun with me, you won't even realize I didn't bring a gift. The gift was me and the good time we just had,
I like that. I ain't gonna fry. I like that. Put it in some sort of fashion.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah, so said, my aura is the gift.
I'm like, we're gonna have a good time. Like, I want everybody to have a good time. I'm like, that is it. So it's like, yeah, they know I'm gonna just get it done. So I think it boils more down to that.
And since before we get into sauce, I do want to ask something. I want to implement this. John Graham made me think about this, and I think we're gonna do this for every episode moving forward. Yeah. So I want to do an affirmations piece. What's one thing that you're shooting for right now? I would love for you to say it on the show. So when that thing does happen, we've got to record it. What's the one thing? And to give you context, like my brother John Graham, he just launched his app. He said it on the show 2 years ago, just launching it. He's actually in beta right now. He's about to launch in a couple of weeks. So that's why I want to start that. So what's something for you, as Taylor McCain, that you're going to get done? Then we're going to be like, yo, we got the footage. She said it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that what I want to get done, in addition to what I do each and every day, is I want to be a connector. And the entertainment industry is where my heart lives. And because I built personal relationships with entertainers, what I've always wanted to do was to create an organization where I'm bringing in the best and the brightest, which are people who have been in my circle. I mean, I told you about my friend Alexis. She's a pharmacist. My friend Brooks is a social media strategist. Noelle is a nurse, but bringing them into spaces where they serve as support in the entertainment industry. Because I think that a lot of times entertainers don't have a true team that they can count on, right? They might have one or two people, but it's always been my goal to figure out how people who exist in my space, including like you all, who have done well in their space, how can I build a team for entertainers so they can grow as business people and have the resources to be able to do their job. So, I mean, and that team includes health, it includes business, it includes finances, it includes real estate. How am I going to do that? So that's really that's been my ultimate goal as of lately for what I want to do and get done. So hopefully I'll be able to work with an entertainer and be able to do that and bring those people who I know who have talent along the way to be able to groom them as entertainers, but also groom them too as professionals.
I'm gonna have to. We're gonna work with you on that. I got a good dope name for you at least. The Village.
The Village, yeah.
Some shit
there's
like
a need. Yeah. It's a need. I'm telling you. So
that's what we try to do too. Like we try to connect to that. We're gonna talk to you off camera.
Mm-hmm. Let's get this thing happen. Bring us back to the green room for sure. For sure. We got our final segment of the interview. My personal favorite, trademark pending. It is called From the Saucer. The reason why I call this moment From the Saucer is because and I'll shout out my girl who first put this in my mind, my regional rep sister, Nadege.
Yes.
She and you probably heard her say this because when she first mentioned me, I was like, no, I have to lock this in for life. You should never pour from your cup. You should fill your cup up, let it runneth over, and that excess that is in your saucer is what you should pour into others. So, my Sora McCain, if you would do us the honor of just pouring from your saucer into the cup of others, some wisdom, whatever you're willing to share, I think whatever you give is going to be so beneficial.
Okay, yeah. What I would say is, one, again, don't take no as an answer. Just don't. It doesn't, that if you lead with that, you will go anywhere because you're going to wake up every morning saying to yourself, I can do it. That's the affirmation you have to give yourself. And then remember that you're uniquely suited to do whatever it is you want to do. You are suited to do whatever it is you want to do. And that is for you, not for anybody else, for you. So put on the suit that's made for you and do the work. Don't worry about what's happening around. Don't even worry about what's happening around you, right? Just remember your uniqueness and what it is that makes you a part of any team that you're a part of, and know that that's what's going to move you forward. Is if you remember that things are uniquely suited for you. Just get the job done and walk in that. So that's the next I would give.
I'm screaming baby. So with that being said, that was fire though. I ain't gonna hold you. With that being said, and I'm gonna give you an affirmation too. I'm gonna give you an affirmation right here on this thing. I would love to next time we're in Miami. I want to come down to the office and I want to do a day in the life of Rap Snacks.
Yeah, come see us.
I would
come
love
down.
Like that's our next evolution of what we're doing with the podcast. Like it's one thing to say the business, but let's walk with you for a couple of hours. What does it look like? Oh, word, this decision, you got to change packaging right now. We got on. Like, I think our community needs to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Come. I think the behind the scenes and to see the, like, they could do it. I think people think, oh, you need this, you need that. No, you can make it happen.
You can make it. And as long as you roll up your sleeves, get the elbow grease. If you love what you do, you'll make it happen.
You make it happen.
Everything. So with that being said, sis, welcome to the More Than a Title family, sis.
Thank you. It's been fun. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
We enjoyed. This was a dope. This is a classic, sis. So I'm gonna let you know what this entails, sis. Basically, we don't gatekeep. We don't do none of that. So now that you're part of the family, anybody that we spoke to prior, 225 people before you, and the hundreds more that's gonna come after you, you have complete access to. So if there's somebody you see a flyer up, or word, they talking to this one, they talking to Dr. Knowles, they talking whoever it is, you tell us who it is. We'll make it happen. We'll set up the call, get the calendar, put you on the call. We jump off, and that's our way of saying thank you for you giving your time and you giving us energy and being a part of the community. Because at the end of the day, we all want to connect with each other. We all have to learn from each other. This is what this is for. So to give the voiceless a voice, and we want to do that. So please take us up on that. And if there's anybody in the city, it doesn't matter if you want us to do cameras, not cameras. If we come down there, if we don't bring the camera, it don't matter. Let's just link up and continue to build. Right? If you want us to support, you got an event. We love to come through and chill, support you, Queen. And we doing that Women's Appreciation Month. If you could come up we'd love to have you. Like, let's just make something happen. So welcome to the family, sis. This was an honor.
Thank you. Yes. You are my family too. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate y'all. So.
Of course. Anything for you. You know that.
This is dope.
Bro.
Take us home, sis. Take us home.
All right, got to end it the best way we can, because y'all know, and y'all know it well. The dream is free.
But the hustle is sold separately, y'all. We out here too. This was fire. Tuesday, we got Coca-Cola coming through. Who else? Woo. We out here.
What you know about me? Seen it all, heard it all. Oh, what you know about me? I done it all, just want it all.